Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. Rob here with some Rise of the Ronin tips, a few of my own, and many from our community coordinator Alex, who plays the role of wise sensei to my bungling Mr. Bean of a samurai. Between us, we hope to give you all the tips and tricks that saw us through the first 20 hours of the game. I'll cover which skills to unlock and how to unlock them, how to earn more skill points, how to get a grip on combat and stealth, and some best practice advice. If you're looking for something specific, there are time codes in the description below. By all means, just watch a little bit, but if you find any of this video helpful, please do give it a like and subscribe to PlayStation Access for more helpful videos just like this. It's tricky to offer instant win tips about combat, as every blade swinging towards your face has a different rhythm. In a dream world, you'd learn every weapon move and deflect it with a counterspark. That's the deflection mapped to the triangle button. Sadly, we don't live in a dream world, but you can make Rise of the Ronin less nightmarish with some sensible behaviour. One piece of advice we live by is giving yourself time to learn enemy attacks. Blocking with L1 when you meet new opponents lets you absorb some attacks, study how they behave, and crucially, see how long their combos are. Yes, you can counterspark every move in a combo chain to panic your rival. But if you counterspark the final move in the chain, it still staggers your attacker, so that's a good place to start. You can counterspark while holding L1 to block, so enjoy the safety of that guard as you pick your moment. Many combos have an extra hit you don't expect, and that's the one you want to counterspark. Of course, if the enemy uses a martial skill with red smoke, many of these can't be blocked, so you either need to counterspark or dodge out the way. The trick here isn't to counterspark as soon as they turn red. Many martial skills have long wind-up animations designed to throw you off. One way to make any parrying easier is to keep your distance. It encourages enemies to perform dashing or leaping moves, which we find much easier to counterspark as you have that extra second of seeing them coming. The best place to practice these basics is in the Yokohama Dojo here on the map, which opens up a few hours into the campaign. While you are limited to fighting allies and their set weapons, it's a safe space to get a feel for fighting without the threat of losing karma on death. And when you do master it, it feels amazing to hand them their ass in exchange for prizes. Rise of the Ronin's stance system sounds scarier than it is. Every weapon has multiple combat styles, which roughly fit into 3 types: Jin, Chi, and Ten. Look right of an enemy's health bar and you'll see if your current style has a blue advantage or a red disadvantage, or is neutral, which is white. Keep it blue and countersparks become more effective at sapping your opponent's ki. You can equip 3 styles per weapon, and when you hold R1 in battle, you switch between styles in the bottom right, with a blue arrow indicating advantage. Ideally, you should equip 1 weapon with each of the Jin, Chi, and Ten styles, so it has advantage against anything you encounter. That loadout takes a while to unlock, however. Early on, it's easier to cover Jin, Chi, and Ten across 2 weapon slots. For example, early story missions give the katana Jin and Chi styles, so you just need to pick a weapon with a 10 style for slot 2. Scrolling through locked options on the combat styles screen tells you how to access them. Some are learned by killing fugitives, so target these first. Survival odds increase if you limit group fights as often as humanly possible. Sword fighting is easier with fewer distractions. This is where Rise of the Ronin's stealth is your best friend. There are many ways to thin out enemy settlements, but our main tip is to start up high. If things go wrong, enemy fighters struggle to climb up to most roofs. Get up there yourself by either grappling to the obvious hooks or gliding in from outside the settlement. The glider is also good to move between rooftops once you're in hostile territory. The floor isn't lava, but it does have hot-tempered samurai waiting to gut you. With your roof secured, time to unleash bows and rifles, and you really don't need to worry about how noisy they are. As long as you aren't right next to a guard, a booming rifle can be used safely to snipe away archers and riflemen from towers or rooftops before you turn your sights on lone soldiers standing on the ground. Remember to zoom in with R3 for extra precision. When the reticule turns red, you're aiming at a weak spot. For this reason, buying upgraded rifle performance and rifle refill from the intellect skill tree are good early purchases. If you prefer the twang of a bow, you can collect one in the early game by visiting the Yoshida Shinden horseback archery minigame. It's free to play and rewards a sturdy bow. Even better, ride all the way up here to gliding training in Shibo to earn Yoichi's longbow, one of the best weapons we've found. Back to stealth. Once you've exhausted long-distance options, it's time to get personal. You can perform aerial assassinations, which trigger with triangle once you see a red reticule on a target below. However, we suggest upgrading to grappling hook assassination. It's an early option in the dexterity tree. This has greater reach for grabbing enemies that aren't directly beneath you, and it also pulls victims up to your safe rooftop. If the enemies are hiding inside the buildings, you just need to equip the earthenware bull and throw it outside the door. They'll soon come to investigate and doom their necks to a quick yank. Of course, there are areas where it's impossible to get the drop, so don't overlook ground assassinations. To buy the grappling hook assassination from the dexterity tree, you first need to unlock rapid assassinations, which let you quickly target a second character once you've killed the first. It actually has a generous reach. The first kill will startle nearby enemies, and as long as you can quickly reach them and press triangle, you can clear out rooms of people far apart. A word of warning though, these assassinations won't always kill formidable foes. Even if they only have a tiny sliver of health, you'll often need to finish them with an attack. Handily putting them up to a rooftop means you can smack them off and then yank them back up again once their suspicion meter has dropped. On that topic, if you do alert the guards, there's no shame in running away. Grapple back up to a rooftop or literally flee the area, and enemies will soon stop chasing you. They don't like to run far from their original posts. Hit R3 to enter a stealth pose and you'll see alert indicators turn yellow and then back to white. Once they are white, or vanish completely, an enemy can be assassinated again. Brilliantly, even if you run away, enemies retain any damage you did. This means you can perform repeat hit and runs on formidable foes to whittle down health over several assassinations. This is great against the fugitives dotted across the world map. Okay, it isn't the noblest way to fight, but a Ronin gotta eat, right? Another way to last longer in Rise of the Ronin is to increase your stock of medicinal pills. Think of these as your Bakumatsu-era Estus flasks. They refill when you touch a Veiled Edge banner. You start with a stock of 3, but each of the 4 skill trees has an upgrade named Refill Increase that adds an additional set of pills. On the Intellect skill tree, it can actually be upgraded twice, bringing you a total of 8 medicinal pills once you've unlocked them all. The pills option in the Strength and Intellect trees are locked behind fewer upgrades, so target these first. Of course, it's easier to say, buy this or that. You will need skill points and rare skill points, which are specific to each of the 4 disciplines. You earn skill points by hoarding karma and then banking it at Veiled Edge banners. But you might be skipping some easy skill points too. You're often rewarded yellow lotus flowers, which give you 100 karma per flower. To find them, head to the equipment tab and press L3 to access the inventory for some extra karma. The inventory is also home to the Treatise of Enlightenment, which rewards you a whole skill point on activation. Should you die in combat, you'll lose karma you haven't banked, creating a vendetta against the enemy who killed you. Handily, you don't actually need to kill the enemy to get the karma back. You just need to deal a critical hit, which can be an assassination technique. If you die to a really brutal enemy, it's safer to land one of these moves to reclaim your karma and then leg it with your karma to safety. Dropping in with a glider assassination is good, or see our earlier stealth tips. Banking karma sometimes rewards rare skill points in strength, dexterity, charm, and intellect, used to buy juicy skills in those respective trees. But there are easier ways to guarantee these points. As you scroll over map regions, press triangle to see area info, along with rewards for completing 100% of the region, which often include rare skill points. Maxing out a region is not as daunting as it looks. The higher you drive your region bond, the more map markers are added, so regions are easy to polish off. To complete regions, you'll collect cats, take photographs, hunt fugitives, and complete training. These tasks also earn rare skill points. For strength skill points, return to the official in the Yokohama Grand Villa and he'll sell you a treatise on strength, stocking more for every fugitive you kill. Likewise, Usugumo Deo in the Miyazaki Pleasure District trades a treatise on charm for cat collecting, and the photographic studio rewards shutterbugs with a treatise on intellect. A note on photograph tasks: if you reach the map marker and can't find the precise target, press triangle on the camera icon on the map for specific instructions of what is required. Some snaps require a particular time of day, for example. Finally, a treatise on dexterity is offered as a prize for training minigames, such as shooting galleries and horseback archery. With all of the above, the treatises can be found in the same inventory screen as the Yellow Lotus. While on the topic of the inventory, there are a few helpful options hidden away to ease management of your pockets. First of all, we cannot recommend enough that you go to System and User Accessibility and enable Auto Pickup. This means you don't have to press R1 for every plant, rock and dead body you sprint by. Just let the materials roll on in. To help clear out unwanted items, head to System and Game Settings, where you can switch on Auto Sell or Auto Disassemble. These will sell or disassemble equipment when you touch a Veiled Edge banner, much quicker than visiting a trader. You can set the rarity of affected items in the menu, so do be careful not to nuke all your rarest items. Of course, before you start breaking weapons down for scrap, we suggest looking through your arsenal to see if there are any special effects that would be better off on another weapon. Blacksmiths let you perform bond transfers in exchange for bond duels, which take a stat from one weapon and insert it into an empty stat slot on another. It's ideal for when there's a great special effect on a weapon type you don't often use, or if your favoured weapon needs a little more juice. Personally, we use it to punch up our counterspark opportunities. Look for special effects such as Attack Up Counterspark, which increases damage after deflecting, or Key Attack Up Counterspark, which raises damage done by the counterspark itself. Another handy one is the effect that raises damage at night. These are often large damage increases, and as you control time of day with your pocket watch, you can ensure the boon's active when you hunt fugitives or clear out unruly areas. Another quick equipment tip is to make sure you're working through Iizuka's tech tree. He's the inventor who hangs out at the photography studio.
It seems there are many tomes about Western technology and weaponry.
As you go about your travels, you'll collect foreign books, which can be exchanged for new gadgets at his workshop. These are useful gizmos in themselves, but the real benefit are added accessory equipment slots that unlock as you fill out the tech tree. These let you equip multiple accessories, which offer quirkier buffs such as punching up health regeneration or key recovery. The more the better. A lot of Iizuka's tech tree is tied to his bond level, which takes a while to raise, but one upgrade you can get early is fast flight for the glider. This requires you to get the gliding training manual, which is a prize for completing the gliding task all the way over in Kariba. There's nothing stopping you riding over there early on and beating the game to get that extra burst of gliding speed. Finally, some tips that don't live anywhere else. There are 3 speechcraft abilities in the skill trees: Intimidate in Strength, Liar in Charm, and Persuade in Intellect. These are worth unlocking before you dig into story content, as they give more options in the dialogue trees, often letting you squeeze extra money or rewards out of quest givers, and sometimes hiding funny outcomes.
Well, if you say so.
Speaking of the gift of the gab, do make sure you're having regular chats with your social bonds and giving them gifts. You can either chat at the longhouse or find where the person is hanging out by checking their location on their bond profile. When giving gifts, prioritise items with the paper heart, as these greatly increase the bond level.
Wow, this is great!
Gift giving has a cooldown period, so regularly check in on everyone to keep the kindness flowing.
Oh, I like this.
Finally, are you making most of titles? These are awarded for hitting certain milestones and grant boosts to your core stats. Head to the Equipment tab, press R3 to see the status page, and then press R3 to see the list of unlocked titles. Only a small boost, but every little helps. And those are our Rise of the Ronin tips and tricks. Hopefully something here has helped you get a firmer footing in the exciting world of 19th century Japan. If even one of these tips was useful to you, we'd appreciate a click of the thumbs up. And if you have your own tips, why not add them in the comments below? Now, if you don't mind, we've got another 10,000 bandits to gut. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you again soon.
PlayStation